Hello, and welcome to the 2022 Specialty Crop Block Grant Program, or SCBGP Outcome Measures and Budget Template webinar. These presentations will cover how to complete the outcome measures and budget templates that must be included with the concept proposal application. First, we will cover the outcome measures template. The outcome measures were developed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Agricultural Marketing Services, and the Office of Management and Budget to standardize performance indicators that apply to SCBGP. The reason for this is to compile data across all states, making it easier to see the effect that the program has on specialty crop industry, which in turn strengthens the need for continued funding. Please note that because these performance indicators were developed to provide a standardized measure of the program results, outcome measures and associated indicators and sub-indicators cannot be altered, amended, or replaced. This means that when completing the outcome measures template, you should only enter the information requested and provide responses in the format described in the template. Changes, even to make a clarification, should never be made to the outcome measures text as written. Outcome measures are how the success of your project will be assessed and therefore are the primary goal of SCBGP. In other words, when you select an outcome measure or measures, you are indicating what your project will achieve within the grant duration. The result of all outcome measures is the enhanced competitiveness of specialty crops. Each outcome measure has indicators and in some cases sub-indicators associated with it. These indicators will be the evidence that show your project has increased the competitiveness of the specialty crop industry. They outline specific performance data that need to be collected and reported for the project. Reporting on your selected outcome measures is one of the ways you'll demonstrate the success of the project. To help in selecting an appropriate outcome measure for your project, CDFA provides an outcome measure supplement that lists the outcome measures, indicators, and sub-indicators along with some additional explanation. A copy of the supplement is available in the Handouts tab on GoToWebinar. However, a link to the supplement can also be found in the Request for Concept Proposals or RFCP. To learn more about each outcome measure, you will need to review the outcome measures template, the RFCP, and the supplement. We will not go into detail on the content of each outcome measure here. To complete the outcome measures template, first download the template to your computer from the concept proposal application in FAST. A link to the template is also available in the RFCP. Complete the template and upload the finished document to the Attachments tab in FAST. The steps for uploading the template are covered in the presentation on the FAST system. Please note that outcome measure templates must be uploaded as a Word document and should not be converted to any other file type, such as a PDF. There are a total of 7 outcome measures. And as mentioned, each outcome measure has one or more indicators and in some cases sub-indicators associated with it. When preparing a concept proposal, at least one outcome measure and an associated indicator and sub-indicator, if applicable, must be selected. Here are a few key points to keep in mind when selecting outcome measures. The number of outcomes or indicators selected is not a factor in scoring of the proposal. Selecting more outcome measures does not mean your project will be viewed more favorably. Applicants that are awarded grant funds are required to report on all outcomes and indicators selected, so only identify the outcome your organization will have the capability to monitor and report on. All numerical estimates provided should be reasonable. We understand that the values indicated for selected outcome measures in the concept phase are projections. However, it is important to provide an estimate that is realistic. And all outcome measures, indicators, and sub-indicators selected must be achievable within the grant duration, which is 2 years and 6 months, or 2 years if applying under the Additional Assistance for Historically Underrepresented Organizations program. It is important to mention that Outcome Measure 1, Indicator 1.5 must be selected for all concept proposals submitted under the Grown in California funding category. In addition, all marketing and promotion projects that focus efforts to sell, advertise, promote, market and generate publicity, attract new customers, or raise customer awareness for specialty crops or a specialty crop venue must also select Outcome Measure 1, Indicator 1.5, regardless of the funding category the proposal is submitted under. In addition, for Outcome Measure 1, Indicator 1.5, the specific sub-indicator selected must be expressed as either a dollar value, percentage change, or a combination of volume and average price as a result of the marketing and/or promotion activities. Only one sub-indicator must be selected. It is necessary to measure actual sales figures resulting from marketing efforts against an established baseline to evidence an increase in sales. And for projects that don't already have a baseline of sales in dollars, one of the objectives of the project must be to determine a baseline during the grant period. And lastly, additional information. The difference between jobs and careers is that jobs are the net gain of paid employment, whereas new business created or adopted can indicate new careers. The beginning farmer is an individual or entity that has not operated a farm or ranch for more than 10 years and substantially participates in the operation. And a socially disadvantaged farmer is a farmer who is a member of a socially disadvantaged group. A socially disadvantaged group is a group whose members have been subject to discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin, age, disability, and where applicable, sex, marital status, familial status, parental status, religion, sexual orientation, genetic information, political beliefs, reprisal, or because all or a part of an individual's income is derived from any public assistance program. For each outcome measure and indicator selected, a description of the data collection methods that will be used to report on the progress of the outcome measure must be provided. This is where you will provide details about the activities a project will conduct to collect data to measure and track the progress towards achieving the indicator or sub-indicator. This section should not include information regarding how work plan objectives or other aspects of the project will be measured or monitored that are not related to the outcome measure. We tend to see information about research methods for project activities or work plan objectives in this section, but that type of information should not be included. Should a grant be awarded, the recipients will be required to report on the selected outcome measure separate from the work plan objectives. The data collection box in the outcome measures template should describe the plan for collecting data and monitoring the selected outcome measures only. In addition, each outcome measure must have a complete response for the data collection methods. Do not include comments that refer to other sections of the proposal, such as, for example, as described in a prior outcome measure or as described in the work plan. Also, if you have applied to SCBGP in the past, you may notice that there has been a change to the form, and now there is only one description box required for each outcome measure instead of two. Any data collection, monitoring, or reporting that will be done for the outcome measures will go here. Here's an example of a completed outcome measure template. In this case, outcome measure 1, indicator 1.5, has been selected. Also note that only whole numbers have been entered and there have not been any changes made to the template other than providing the information requested. In other words, where the template indicates enter number, only a whole number has been entered and any additional text has only been included in the description of data collection method box. Since the outcome measures, indicators, and sub-indicators cannot be altered, amended, or replaced. Before uploading the completed template into FAST, please double-check that you have entered the required values and descriptions for all selected outcome measures. And although the template does not have a page limitation, content provided in the description box should be appropriate, necessary, and responsive to the intended purpose of the template. This concludes our presentation on the outcome measures template. This presentation will cover the budget template that is submitted with the concept proposal. To begin, here are a few tips to consider as you prepare your budget. Make sure all of your requested costs are allowable. If your budget includes a substantial amount of unallowable costs, the proposal may be disqualified. Therefore, we strongly encourage you to reference the allowable and unallowable costs and activities table. A copy has been provided in the Handouts tab of GoToWebinar. Ensure all costs are justified and directly support the project objectives. Reviewers want to know why you need the items requested and how they relate to the project activities in the concept proposal phase. Just a basic description of cost is adequate. Ensure that the cost estimates are reasonable and realistic. We understand that at this point, your budget is a best estimate based on current information. However, we ask that you do your homework to ensure your estimates aren't over or understated. If your project advances to the grant proposal phase, your budget shouldn't change by more than 10%. So it is important to ensure your concept proposal budget is a realistic estimate. Lastly, please double check your math to make sure you have the correct total. Attention to detail shows that you took care in preparing your proposal. And please start your applications early. Don't wait until the day applications are due to start your budget template. One last item before we get into the budget template is the difference between direct and indirect costs. Direct costs can be identified specifically with a particular award, project, or activity, or directly assigned to an award, project, or activity relatively easily with a high degree of accuracy. On the other hand, indirect costs, which are also known as facilities or administrative costs, are incurred for common or joint objectives and cannot be easily identified specifically with a particular award, project, or activity. These typically include costs associated with running your organization as a whole, like administrative staff, salaries, rent, utilities, and office supplies. As we go through the following slides, keep in mind that all costs listed in categories A through G should be direct costs. Indirect costs should be listed in category H only. This is what the budget template looks like. I know it's difficult to read here, so feel free to follow along on your budget template handout. First, you'll enter your proposal identification number or PIN at the top of the page. This is a unique 5-digit number assigned to your project by FAST. In the amount requested column, you'll enter the total amount of SCBGP funds you're requesting for each budget category rounded to the nearest whole dollar. In the brief description column, you'll list the costs or activities to be covered. A description is required for each budget category and which funds are requested, except for category H, which is indirect costs, and category I, which is the total SCBGP funds requested. A description for how program income will be reinvested into the project is also required should a project generate any program income that SCBGP project activities will generate. We'll go over each budget category, but for instructions on what information to provide in the description, please reference page 20 of the RFCP. Also note that at the bottom of the budget template, you will find links to the General Service Administration GSA website and the GS15 Step 10 rate for your area. You will find relevant per diem and lodging rates for travel on the GSA website, while locality pay rates needed to determine appropriate pay for contractors will be listed on the website of the Office of Personnel Management. A completed sample budget is available on page 32 of the RFCP. Please note that this is just an example provided to illustrate what a completed budget might look like. The first category is category A, salary and wages. This is where you'll list the total estimated cost of salary and wages for the time spent working on the project by employees of the applicant organization. In the description column, please list the title of each employee and the amount of time they'll be working on the project. For hourly employees, that would just be the number of hours, but for salaried employees, that would be the % full-time equivalent. Please note that we do not need to see a year-by-year breakdown, only the total amount requested for each. Salary and hourly requests should follow the U.S. General Schedule pay scale, for the locality in which the employee will be working. Additional justification will need to be provided for employees whose salaries exceed GS 15 Step 10. Category B is fringe benefits. Fringe includes benefits like paid leave, health insurance, pensions, and unemployment, and is calculated as a percent of an employee's salary. In the amount requested column, list the total estimated fringe benefit costs for employees of the applicant organization determined in accordance with the applicant's established fringe benefit policy. In the description column, provide the approximate fringe benefit rate and types of benefits included. Category C is travel. Under amount requested, list the total estimate cost of all individuals except contractual personnel. When preparing your travel cost estimate, please use the per diem amounts required by the U.S. General Service Administration or GSA. These rates vary by location, so look up the appropriate rates using the GSA website. You will find a link to the GSA website included at the bottom of the budget template. Although your budget is only an estimate at this stage, please use the GSA per diem rates to ensure your costs are not excessively high. Note that per diem rates for the first and last days of travel are not the same as full travel days. Also keep in mind that state-funded and state-sponsored travel to states with discriminatory law is prohibited. You'll find the current list of states subject to California's prohibition in the RFCP on page 25. In the description column, describe the travel that will be needed to accomplish the project objectives. Category D is scientific research equipment. This is where you'll list the cost to purchase any scientific research equipment needed for your project. To be considered scientific research equipment, an item must cost $5,000 per unit or more and be used only for research, scientific, or other technical activities. This includes items like specialized microscopes, spectrometers, and other lab equipment. In the description column, list the name of the items to be purchased. It's important to clarify that purchasing general purpose equipment is not allowable under the SCBGP. That means you cannot purchase any non-scientific items that cost more than $5,000 with SCBGP funds. That includes things like vehicles, refrigerators, and tractors. However, costs to rent general purpose equipment may be allowable and would be included in Category G, Other. Category E is supplies. Enter the total estimate cost for supplies in the amount requested column. Supplies refer to items that cost less than $5,000 per unit and are used exclusively for the objectives of the project. It is important that you do not include indirect costs in this category, including general use office supplies or facilities costs. In the description column, list the types of supplies the project anticipates purchasing. Category F is for the project's estimated contractual costs. For the purpose of SCBGP, any organization other than the applicant that will work on the project and receive grant funds is considered a contractor. For amount requested, list the total estimated cost of any work to be performed by organizations other than the applicant. Typical costs under contractual include consultants or project cooperators from other organizations. This amount should include all of the budget costs associated with each contractor, including salary, travel supplies, etc. In the description column, list the names of the contractors if known and the types of services needed. Note that the Office of Management and Budget has developed guidelines for determining appropriate rates for contractors. A link to this information can be found at the bottom of the budget template. Please ensure you do not exceed the maximum allowable rate. Category G is for other costs. For amount requested, provide the estimated total of all other project costs. Examples of costs that should be listed under other include registration fees, speaker fees, fees to public projects, results, and professional journals, costs for data collection and analysis, and meeting space or equipment rentals. In the description column, be sure to provide a brief explanation of the types of costs included. Category H is where you will indicate the amount of indirect costs requested for your project. Remember that indirect costs are the facilities and administrative costs that cannot easily be tied directly to the activities of the grant. The maximum allowable indirect rate under SCBGP is 8% of total personnel costs. To calculate this amount, add Category A, salary and wages, plus Category B, fringe benefits, and multiply the total by 0.08. The amount you list under Category H cannot exceed this number. For this budget category, no description is required. Category I is where you will indicate the total SCBGP funds requested. Add up the amount requested for budget category A through H and enter this amount under category I. Again, the total funds requested cannot be less than 100,000 or greater than 500,000, or for the additional assistance program, less than 50,000 or more than 100,000. And also, for this budget category, no description is required. And last category, J, is program income. If your project will generate income, in the amount requested column, list the total estimated amount of income that could be generated by your project. Under the description column, explain the activities that would generate program income and how the income would be used to support the project objectives. Please note that program income cannot be used as profit for an organization or to support unallowable costs. Also note that program income is not required and does not influence scoring. Finally, there are a number of resources and links available on the SCBGP website to help as you are completing your proposal. These include the allowable and unallowable costs and activities table, the GS pay scale, and the RFCP.